going to show you some alternatives to ink. These are Designer's Gouache, two makes here, Winsor & Newton and Schmincke, and we can use those to get colour in the nib. Alternatively, we've got ordinary watercolours, which will be more transparent than gouache. This is my Sennelier pack, and gouache is more opaque than the watercolours, but you can use either. This is a set of gold watercolours. I'm showing you the make here, Colero, and these are really high quality watercolours that give a really excellent result in the nib. So I'm taking my palette. You can see there's some old gouache in there, it just dries up, and putting some in there, a little more than I wanted to, but never mind. And now I'm going to add some water with a pipette, and now I'm just stirring it round really well, and I'm trying to get the consistency of single cream. And I probably put a little bit too much water in there and a little bit too much to mix up in one go. But stir it round really, really, really well. So now I'm showing you here how you can add that gouache to the back of the nib and then write with it. So you can't dip it in, you just apply it onto the back of the nib with a paintbrush. So now I'm doing the same thing with the watercolour, just adding some water with a pipette and giving it a little stir round. Don't use your best paintbrush for this, use an old one, and showing you again how you can apply that colour to the back of the nib and then write with it. So just stroke it on the back. Can you see a slightly different effect with the watercolour? It's more opaque than you might expect. And lastly, the gold watercolour, just again adding a little bit of water and keeping on stirring it round really well to get all of those little particles of pigment stirred into that water to make a nice creamy consistency. And then again, it's this technique of applying it to the back of the nib with a brush. Got a little bit of blue in there, adding a bit more. And when you write with it, it's really smooth and it dries in that raised, with that raised effect, so it's really effective. So I recommend it highly.